Oh. सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यश्चेयस्यानिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाची प्रतिष्ठितम् आविर्मयेधि वेदस्य माणिस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासिः अनेन अधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्ददामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारम् अवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभीर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गै स्तुष्टुवाग्वं स्वस्तिनोभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिपृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वा पवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वममृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षतः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Narayan, Narayan, everyone. Okay, Anita, would you like to read the connection with us between 35 and 36?
Yes. Having thus described the effect of the three gunas on the two main mental equipments, buddhi and dhruti, the Lord takes up the object of knowledge, which is one of the factors of origination of an action. Being related to action, the object of knowledge in this context is taken to mean gratification, which is generally the objective for which action is initiated. Describing sattvic gratification, the Lord says.
So, just to bring context, so we first understood what the effects are of the gunas on the performer, on the action. Then we looked at what the effects of the guna are on the subtle state of our buddhi and dhriti, which is intellect and fortitude. Right? We studied the effect of guna on both of these faculties, the subtle faculties. Now we're studying what the effect is of guna on the gratification, how we experience gratification. Yeah. Sukham tividani trividam
Sukham dvitani trivitam.
shrunu me bharata shrabha.
Shunu me Bharadar Shapa.
Abhyasadhramate yatra
Abhyasatramate yatra
dukhantam cha nigicchati nigacchati
duk- dukkantam cha
nigacchati.
nigacchati.
We'll do the second one also.
Okay.
Yata dagre vishi vima. Yata dagre vishamiva
Yatat tatre vishamiva
pariname mritopamam
pariname mritopamam
tata sukham tat sukham satvikam prapur tat sukham satvikam protam
satvik satsukam satvikam proktam
atma buddhir prasadajam.
atma buddhi prasadajam.
Thank you.
O best of Bharatas, hear from me the three types of gratification. That is, that in which one seeks delight in by spiritual practices which takes one to the end of all sufferings, and which in the beginning is like poison, but proves to be a nectar in the end, is said to be sattvic gratification, born of serenity due to self realization. Sattvic gratification. People have wildly different views about happiness or gratification. It is a state of mind brought about by some favorable external impulse, but a person experiencing inner blessedness is said to be blissful. The inner blessedness can be inculcated by pursuing spiritual practices described in the Shloka 36 as being necessary for sattvic gratification. Such practices gradually enhance the sattva guna of the mind. When pursued assiduously, these practices help one to transcend even sattvaguna and to enjoy the blissful state of self, which is which is the end of all sufferings. In
So let's
Shloka,
pause here really quick. So the very first line in the introduction of this book, if you go to chapter 1, it highlights what is the purpose of man. What is our purpose? What are all of us chasing? We all are chasing happiness. All of us want to be happy. That is our core being. That is what we're looking for. Right? And what now this shloka will try and highlight is there are few ways in which we chase happiness, whether it's likes and dislikes, whether it's achievement, whether it's gratification, whether it's impulse of pleasure and unfavorable impulses, right? Out here, what we are going to study upon is sattvic gratification. How do we reach a stage of inner bliss? That is where you are happy regardless of your VVGP. Yeah. Now you can continue reading.
In Shloka 37, the Lord says that in the beginning, these practices taste like poison. The reason is that after a long association with the worldly enjoyment, the spiritual practices of worship, meditation, communion with devotees, and the prayers are not relished easily by the mind. When, when through these practices the inner illumination is experienced, then the mind starts feeling highly gratified. It is the serenity which the Lord mentions in Shloka 37 as being due to self realization and which tastes like nectar.
So again, this is an experience we all have had. That's why we've come to this Gita class for 3 years now in a row, right? In the beginning, any path that any effort you put, when you do it with a sattvic perspective, initially it feels like poison, and it only feels like poison because you are breaking your tamas. You're going against your innate part of you, which is lazy, which is comfort zone, which is, oh, I know how to do it, or ego, or I know already everything, oh, I'm good enough, I don't need this, other people need it, right? That poison is for you to, what is highlighted as poison is essentially um, uh, the will to beat your own mind and quieten your ego, right? That is why spiritual practices and sattvic practices like puja, like satsang, like swadhyaya, bhajan, you have a lot of resistance to it in the beginning. Now, I would rather listen to like Bollywood music. Yeah, I can't just listen to bhajans all day, right? So your mind for gratification immediately goes towards rajantam. And that's why sattvic initially feels very difficult. But all of us have come to this Gita class for 2 years straight. Sorry, I think this.
To connect Jabra Speak 710, go to the Bluetooth menu on your mobile device and select system no device connected. Smartphone connected. Two devices connected.
Switch your.
Where's your phone? I think that's the one with the high, low range. So it's connecting this one. Just, I think वो bedroom में तो हर बार वो दरवाजा खुल रहा है ना, it's getting. Sorry. Our speaker is malfunctioning. Can you guys hear us okay? Can you hear the background announcement it keeps giving? Yeah, you can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, ठीक है, okay.
I thought Alexa is also learning along with us.
It's not Alexa, yaar, it's a regular external speaker. Yeah, so where was I? I was talking about, yeah. So we've come to this class for 2 years in a row. And the only reason we've stayed on for 3 years in this class is because at the end of a Sunday class, you feel that quietness, you feel that inner peace. If you did not feel that inner peace, if you still had that halchal, as they say in Hindi, then this would not have been a sattvic activity. But for you to make commitment to show up on time every Sunday from so many different time zones, right? Took effort. And in the beginning, you had to figure out your life and your schedule and get your kids busy and get your husband engaged or your partner engaged to do other things, right? All of us have grahas and we've all taken time with effort. Now it feels like it's part of routine, but you can feel that inner bliss. What this shloka is saying, that is what life can be if we just focus on sattvic gratification with all our activities. Yeah? You wanna add? Bhageshri, would you read the connection?
Speaking of Rajasic gratification, the Lord says,
Vishye Indriya Samyogat
Vishayendriya Sanyogad
Yattat Greha Mratopamam
Yattad Yattadagre Mritopamam
Pariname Vishemiva
Pariname Vishamiva
Tat Sukham Rajasam Smritam.
Tatsukham Rajasam Smritam. The gratification which follows from the contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar in the beginning but is like poison in the end, is said to be Rajasic. Rajasic gratification. The Rajasic form of gratification is the reverse of the Sattvic one. It springs from the favorable experiencing of pleasing sensations when the senses are in contact with the objects which they find enjoyable. But there is no trace of serenity of sattvic gratification in it. In the beginning, it gives a nectarian taste, but in the end, it is a distasteful. It is as distasteful as poison. It is a common experience that the most tasty dish produces aversion when there is no appetite. The same is the case with all enjoyment of the senses.
So I'll give you a perfect example of the difference between sattvic and rajasic gratification, right? There was, I forget the name of this scientist, a mathematician. So he essentially got awarded the Nobel Prize, right? But he had solved that problem that he was working on for, I think, 15 years, about 2 years ago, before he got the Nobel Prize. Right? That's how it works, right? Your achievement takes time to get recognized, etc. So when they interviewed him outside his home, they asked him, how happy do you feel today? You've just been announced that you are the Nobel Prize winner for physics or whatever it was. And he said, oh, yeah, it feels good, but not as happy as the day I solved the problem. Right? And that's the difference between sattvic gratification and rajasic gratification. Where sattvic gratification is you have inner peace because you had the opportunity to put the effort. You had the opportunity to solve something. You had the opportunity to do seva. Right? Rajasic gratification is if I did all the effort, but I did not get the credit, or if I did not get the adulation, then it doesn't matter what the result was. I'm still unhappy. Because the focus of the gratification is me. What was it for me? Your sense of my like, my dislike, my pleasure, my promotion, my validation. मैं घर में इतना काम करता हूँ करती हूँ पर मेरा husband मुझे appreciate नहीं करता है. Like I work so much at home, but I don't get enough credit. My husband doesn't acknowledge me, or my kids don't acknowledge me for all the effort that I do. Right? That's the difference. You're constantly working to chase an external validation for something. That is rajasic gratification. And in the end, what the reason why they say is it might taste very good in the beginning. It is poison in the end because that gratification is always transient. It will go. And that gratification is never consistent. And because of which you will feel disappointment, you will have suffering, you will have anger, you will have frustration. And all of that is just poison because it creates more prarabdha for yourself. That's the difference. Okay. Rituj, would you like to read with us?
The Lord now tells the characteristics of the tamasic form of gratification.
Yada gre chanu bande cha
Yada grejanu bandhecha.
Sukham mohan matman
Matmanah.
matmanah. Sukham mohan matmanah.
Sukham mohan matmanaha.
Sorry. Nidra sapram madotam.
Nidralasya pramadotham.
Nidra
Nidralasya.
Nidra pramadotam.
Nidra lasya pramadotam.
Tatamasmada sorry.
Tatta.
Tatamasmudahatam.
Tattam samudahritam.
Tatam samudarutam.
Tattam samudaritam.
Thank you.
The gratification which in the beginning as well as in the end deludes the self and which springs from sleep, indolence, and useless activity is said to be tamasic. Tamasic gratification. In this form of gratification, there is neither the serenity of the sattvic form nor the pleasure of the rajasic form. This gratification is the result of a delusive escape from the realities of life, engendered by sleep, indolence, and useless activity. It is like the doping of the mind, and this is why it has been described as deluding the self. Sleep is good for giving rest to tired nerves, but when it is induced by sedation, it enhances the tamogun in the mind. An indolent person neglects bounden duties because performance of duties appears to be troublesome. Such a person readily engages in useless activity in the name of recreation, which is often nothing but a waste of valuable time. Indulgence in this form of gratification leads to habits which are harmful, not only to the person but also to the society. Roaming about without any purpose, wasting time in useless gossip and criticism of others, abnormal enjoyment of pastimes are examples of indolence and useless activity. They lead to neglect of duties and preoccupation with harmful activities. With the preponderance of tamagun, one dives headlong into lower species of creation.
So, tamagun gratification, I think from a gross perspective, we understand, right? I'm sure all of us can give examples of addiction, alcohol, not doing your duty, justifying not doing your duty. All of that, yeah, stems from wanting to be in tamagun gratification, of wanting to sleep, wanting to stay where you are, accept their comfort zone and inertia, right, of being that person. But at a subtle level, what is tama gun gratification? At a subtle level, it essentially means us not doing our duty over a period of time. And then internally, we'll have two states of being. One will be a state of being where we quietly feel guilty or we quietly feel shame for not being who we say we are. But the second and the most relevant form is the self-projection we do to defend ourselves. You would either be defending our action for not doing our duty, or you would find blame in others on why something is not happened. Or you find blame in situations because of which you could not do what you had to do. Those two subtle forms of tamagun gratification exists in us on a daily basis. And that's where we need to catch it. So the whole point is every time you feel guilty about something, it's a very important red flag for you to stop and see whether it's a duty that you've not done or something else that is giving rise to that emotion. And every time you find yourself trying to blame others, oh, you did not do good enough, or you did not do this, or you didn't do this, that's why I had to do this, or you behaved this way, which is why I had to behave this way, right? All of that conversation, if it comes up, for you, it's a red flag that, hey, I'm going down now to tamagun behavior. forget no longer having control of Satagun, being in the driver's seat. Chances are now you're building habits that further um, your habit of not doing your duty or enjoying your pastime or staying in inertia. It's not growth, right? Tamagun is the opposite of growth. And Satagun is all about growth. It's all about letting go of your shackles to rise higher. Rajagun is in the middle. And Tamagun is the opposite. So every time you find yourself in that situation, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're Tamagun. If a VVGP is bringing the best out of you for a blessing or a lesson, you're growing. You're in Satagun. Yeah.
So
Nana,
if we understand the point, how or understand ourselves in that kind of a situation, how do we um, come out of the situation quicker? Like the usual way of pondering over it and doing our tapas, or is there any other mechanism that is available? If we see that we are falling to that level, what should be our action?
okay. Would anyone like to share before I?
Okay. I would like to take a pause. If my mind is going downwards, like, tamoguna feeling comes, okay, I'm trying to blame others, and my energy is going down, draining because of some emotion which is happening. I take a pause, and then I take what I can change at this moment instead of blaming them.
So I'll add to that. Definitely. You need to have gyan and the awareness first to be able to take a pause. Right? That's why the satsang swadhyay helps, because that knowledge helps you build awareness in that moment to take a pause. Once you take a pause, you need to invoke the right principle from the Gita. So that principle would be a question that could be, okay, what is Bhagwanji trying to tell me in this situation? It's either a lesson or a blessing. Is it a lesson that, or is it my growth area that I'm resisting? Now Bhagwanji is giving me this situation and I have to grow in that area now. Even though it's not my role, it's not my strength, it's not my whatever job to do it in the company or whatever it is, right? Or is there another way that I need to look at this particular situation? And if you cannot, and there will be situations you'll be completely deluded, you cannot make sense of it. That's when you come pick up this book. That's when you have this satsang. You can talk to me, you can talk to Tuina, you can talk to Kumar, you can reach out to anyone in the Gita Parivar and get their perspective. That's the power of the satsang, because all of us go through exactly same situations.
Thank you.
These last three shlokas are very specifically about object of knowledge. They are not about VVGPs. They are not about attitude of mind. They are very specifically about object of knowledge. An object of knowledge meaning what is the objective with which you do something. So when we're talking about tamasic gratification, we're talking about what are you pursuing. If you're pursuing tamasic stuff and you have developed an awareness that what you're pursuing is not for your good, in fact, it is what is further causing delusion inside of you, then the usual stuff is that what are you really doing right in that moment? Tamasic gratification means you are going after inertia, right? You're going after, you're either doing useless activity, or there is procrastination, or there is too much inertia to do something. That is a moment of that thing. So you remember the ladder that we had talked about. The ladder is that you have to move from tamas. You cannot go to sattva. You have to move from tamas to rajas first. So your first step of action is to find what is the harm. So, and tamas may be, if you think about the varnas, right? You are in the shudra varna when you are fully collapsed by tamas. You have to move to vaishya varna. If you remember chapter 3, chapter 4. So what does a Vaishya do? A Vaishya's mentality is to think about his selfish interest first. So he will be in dynamism. He will be rajasic. He will be taking action for his own personal interest. So you have to move into that consciousness. You have to find why being in this state is harming you in the first place. What you are doing is harming you. Find that first. And then find what is it that I can do for my own self-interest. Is this something that I want to do? Do I want to harm myself? Having that understanding is the biggest thing. Seeing how being in that state of following or going after that object of gratification is causing harm to you. Because none of us wants to harm ourselves. None of us wants to be sad. We are pursuing happiness. So understanding that this does not lead to happiness is the first step. And then the second step is to understand, okay, so what is it in my best interest? How do I make myself happy? Right? That is the second step. Then you take the next step to make yourself happy. So that can potentially be, depending on what is that object of gratification that you're following, you're maybe, sleeping too much, procrastinating a certain thing, not doing what is required of us to do, you're not going for an exercise or whatever it is, right? Then you need to then create the right selfish interest to pursue that activity. That is your second step. Once you have achieved that second step and you've mastered that second step, then you create a lot of learning in that second step. And you create an excess of the goodness that comes from that second step. When you have excess of goodness that has come to you from that second step, then the third step is that you will go up the step of like increasing the sattva-gun in yourself. And then you will think about the people around you. How can I spread this goodness that I have achieved in this step to others around me? If it's a change of habit, or if it's an accumulation of a certain resource, it's an accumulation of certain power or influence, how can I use that for the betterment of others? मैंने अपना तो अच्छा कर लिया. Now, how can I spread that to others? And then the fourth step, when you leave that dynamism behind and there is preponderance of sattva-gun, then you reach to a level where that activity is no longer required because you have crossed whatever learning you had to do out of that, right? So these are step by step. But when you find yourself in tamogun, you have to first move from there to a selfish interest. You have to understand, why is this harming me? And what is in my best interest? You have to understand that and then go towards your best interest. Pursue your self-interest, pursue your best interest. And in that, you can talk to others around you to help you even understand what is in your best interest. Because जब हम तमोगुण में होते हैं, we don't even know what is in our best interest. Sometimes we think, if you are taking drugs, that person will think taking drugs is in my best interest. And anybody who takes that away from me is actually acting against me. क्योंकि आपकी दिमाग, आपकी बुद्धि, धृति, सब कुछ तामसिक है ना. So it depends, right? If your buddhi and your dhriti, the other two your
faculties.
equipments, your mental equipments are more in the space of dynamism, rajas or sattva, then it is much easier for you to come out of you may pursue object of gratification, which is tamasic, but it will be much quicker because you're able to reason very quickly and you're able to get out of it much faster. But so it depends really, how deep inside tamas you are and how many elements which cause the causative action, the causes of action, how many of those causes of action are in tamas? How many of them are in sattva? So you can have different aspects, right? Which will cause you to get out of it. So sometimes taking this help from others or satsang or Gita will help to at least get your buddhi, your intellect become sattva, to guide you. to give you this power of reasoning in the first place that will allow you to understand that what we are pursuing is not in our self-interest. अगर बुद्धि ही तमस है, अगर बुद्धि ही गांधारी बुद्धि है, then that intellect will justify whatever you're doing and tell you that whatever you're doing is perfect. This is the best thing to do. है ना?
Nana, would you like to read with us?
Concluding the description of the effect of the three gunas on knowledge, performance, knower, including the performer, intellect, fortitude, and gratification, the Lord now lays down a general principle.
Na tadasti pritham vyamba prathivyam va
Na tadasti prithvyam va
divi deveshu va punaha
divi deveshu va punaha
Sattvam prakriti jay mruttam.
Prakriti jair muktam.
Sattvam prakriti jay mruttam.
Sattvam prakriti jair muktam.
Yadebhi swat.
Syat.
Sorry. Yadebhi swat tribhi gunehi.
Swat nahi hai, syat.
Syat. Yadebhi syat tribhi gunehi.
Yadebhi syat tribhir gunehi.
By the way, I very much want to acknowledge and appreciate all of you for putting up with my pronunciation. This is part of my sadhana and my learning, and it is important for me to sharpen it. And you are being very patient, and you're being very, yeah, you're giving me the space to learn. So I very much appreciate it. Please.
There is no being on earth, and even no God in the heavens, who may be beyond the effect of three gunas of nature.
So
The
here, this is chapter 13, right? We studied chapter 13 where gunas covers everything in this Maya, in this world. It is like the thread. The thread of the world is made with three strings of Sat, Raj, and Tam. There is nothing in this world that can escape the influence of gunas. In fact, everything that exists is a combination of the three gunas in different combinations, right? And if you remember this, the Shrishti Chakra, right? that the pyramid where we showed everything, you can see the three gunas sit above the mind, ego, intellect. And the combination of all of this is what creates this infinite number of experiences and perceptions and that we have in the world. Yeah. So this shloka basically talks about how the gunas pervade everything. Now you may read.
The all-embracing effect of three gunas. In this shloka, the Lord enunciates the general principle that in all creation there is no beginning or being or entity, earthly or even heavenly, movable or immovable, which may be beyond the effect of the three gunas. It is very important principle with the help of which it can be determined at any time which of the gunas is on the ascendant, by which proper determination adherence to sattva guna becomes easy, which leads to self-realization. In the ascendancy of rajoguna, one is attracted towards sense enjoyments which culminate in suffering. With tamoguna on the ascent, one gets involved in perversion of all types, which makes one a prey to delusion and ignorance. Thus, striving to keep sattva guna in the ascendant, one would experience enlightenment that leads to the path of self-realization.
So out here, we're essentially talking about who is in the driver's seat. Is Satagun on the driver's seat? Is Rajagun on the driver's seat? Is Tamagun on the driver's seat? So right now, when we're in this class, we would say, okay, our Satagun is in the driver's seat. because we are learning, we are focusing, we are trying to reflect, we're trying to understand these principles, right? When we are in business, Rajagun is on the driver's seat. And sometimes for us in different parts of the day, Tamagun is in the driver's seat. And while these can be observed very clearly at different times of the day, right? They change at a very fast rate. 1 second you have Rajagun and Satagun in the driver's seat, you start congratulating yourself, you're back to Rajagun in the driver's seat. Right? You have to be very aware of what you're doing with which bhav. That's what defines what is on the driver's seat for yourself. Ha, Vijay, you have a question.
Sorry. So the question is, there is something catchy here, right? Like even the gods is in the heavens is not beyond the three gunas of nature. So gunatirth is one word that we have seen, and we have also spoken now about you will have to move out of this thing, right? You cannot be bounded, not even by the Satviki Bhukti. That's the way we had been seeing all along. So, but there is a reference here. Even the gods are having these kind of gunas. So that is um, uh, that's what I want to understand a bit better, please.
I think we'll talk about this in the next shloka, but Tuna, if you want to explain.
Gods are, what do you understand by God?
For want of word, like a power beyond us or a superpower kind of.
The gods that are being referred to here are the presiding deities that manage everything, all the affairs in this world. There's a presiding deity of the Sthan. There's a presiding deity of moon. There's a presiding deity of
Sun.
of the sun, of the wind.
Navagragas and so on.
This is not the Lord is Gunatit. The Lord is Gunatit, but the gods are the devs that are being referred to here. The Daivik Shakti. All the devs. So you know that there is human beings, and that there are 7 realms below, and there are 7 realms on top, right? And gods live in those 7 realms. The Gandharvas, the Kinnars, the gods, the Vishnu, the Mahesh, the Brahma, the creator, the Trishakti that we see on top, right? The Devis that form part of it. All of them are part of these 7 realms. And the Lord, who is the Gunatit, the Brahma that we call. Brahma is the, so Brahma and Brahma, you know that difference, right? We've talked about it before. Brahma is that Gunatit Bhagwan. And Brahma is his creative power. It is his manifestation. The moment he has manifested any aspect of him, naturally that manifestation has happened out of what? His own Maya. If it has happened out of his own Maya, that means it is bound by the 3 gunas. Everything in this world, including the gods, including the Gandharvas, the Kinnars, everything in this world is part of the Maya, and it is you know, there are these 3 gunas that are part of it. They are constructed out of those 3 threads necessarily, which is why now what is the difference between the 3? That when you are in the lower yonis, the lower 7 yonis, you're essentially taking that form to go through the sufferings that have accrued to you because of your actions, right?
Past actions.
Past actions. So everything, all actions lead to results, and when you have to go through those results. So you have to go through the suffering in the form of the 7 lower layers, and the good stuff that you do, you take the pleasures, you experience the pleasures when you take the 7 forms on top. Okay, in any of these top 7 and the lower 7 forms, it is a case of you have 0 volition. Okay, there is stimulus and there is reaction that happens out of it. So a dog would always salivate when you show him the right type of food. He doesn't have to think about it. Oh, this food is not good for me, I should not eat, or whatever. They have no they have no reactionary, they have no ability to discern, right? So they will, whenever there is a stimulus, there is a certain action which is instinctively built in animals, and they will act as per that. A snake will always, when they bite you, they will leave a venom, whether you are a good person or a bad person. If a snake bites you, the venom will act on your body in much the same manner, right? It doesn't distinguish between a sage and a thief. Similarly, the gods are also bound by the laws of nature. So a rain god is going to ensure that it rains then, and if there is a flooding that happens, or if there is a good rain that happens, it does not distinguish between the agricultural land of a good guy and a bad guy, right? It will fall, that rain will fall, and it will have the same effect on every aspect of the land on which it will fall. The sun will not say ye acha aadmi hai, I will give him warmth, and ye ganda aadmi hai, to main isko bilkul warmth nahi dunga, right? So the sun god is bound by the law of nature, and he has no volition. He has no ability to discern that I will do this or not. जो धर्म है वो करेंगे. जो धर्म है देवों का वो धर्म करेंगे देव. जो धर्म है animals का वो धर्म करेंगे. धर्म is what? Your innate nature. You are, and the innate nature of the lower forms and the higher forms is determined by the laws of nature, which are crafted by Brahma. You are all bound by those laws of nature, which means you're bound by the gunas. So which means which is why you have, certain things that are laid down in your scriptures. You do A, B, C, D, E, F, you will get this result. अब रावण जाके शंकर की पूजा करेगा कि कोई और जाके शंकर की पूजा करेगा, जो भी पूजा करेगा उसको उसका रिजल्ट मिलेगा. Then Shankar will not say, oh, this is Ravan, he is going to do bad stuff, I will not give him these things. No, you've done A, B, C, D, E, F, you will come and ask me for a boon, I'll have to give you. Did Shankar say, I will not give the boon to Ravan? It does not matter who you are. I cannot distinguish between that. Did you give the stimulus? Did you follow the steps? You will get the result. Whether it's a thief or a good guy, when he goes to gym and he exercises the right manner, he eats the right type of food, it will have the same effect on him. He will get the same result. You eat junk, you will get junky body. You eat sattvic food, your body will be strong. It will have a lot of pran. Correct? So this is what is meant by the laws of nature. So there is a presiding deity of food. That presiding deity of food will give you sattvic pran if you eat it the right way at the right time, follow the laws of nature. Do you get the sense? That is what is being referred to here. Everybody follows the only species that has the concept of volition is the human life. So once you have gone through the the excess and excess of your prarabdha in the form of 7 top lives or the 7 lower lives, then there's a certain amount of balance that comes in. Then you come back into the human form, where there again certain amount of prarabdha is taken out of your balance, and then that forms your destiny based on what karmic lessons you need to learn, and that determines your destiny, that determines your temperament, and then you take this life with the aim that whatever is that balance of temperament that is formed, your the amount of sattva you have, the amount of rajas you have, the amount of tamas you have, you form that. And based on that, there's a certain amount of life destiny that is created for you, that you have to go through these events in life. All of this is structured in a fashion that, given this temperament you have, if you follow this life, following the scriptures, you have the ability, if you use your choice correctly, if you use your volition correctly, you will be able to reach the ultimate welfare, that you will be able to reach moksha in this one life. Now you have the choice whether you do it or not.
So it's about how are we going to use our free will to attain.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
All of us have the ability to achieve moksha in this very life if we utilize the VVGPs that are provided to us as part of our destiny in the correct fashion.
Yeah, I think the thing for us to reflect on also is we take our life in human form for granted. Even though we know it's very, very finite. We just take this form for granted. And we don't use it as an opportunity to make the right choice, to be in Satagun and achieve moksha, bliss. Kavita, would you like to read?
Connection. Now the Lord embarks on the discussion of the effect of the three gunas on human beings. As he mentioned earlier, amongst all the sentient beings of the Lord creation, only humans have some freedom of action, which is reflected in their volition. The effect of the three gunas on performances, which mean actions, has already been discussed in the shlokas 23 to 25, and that on the knower, including the performer, in shlokas 26 to 28. These actions have a far reaching effect, not only in the life, but also in future lives. The value system underlying the actions and the action themselves mold the temperament of the performer of actions, who become liable to the succession of future lives which conform to that temperament. Through this succession of lives, other than human life, the individualized self gradually exhausts the good and bad effects of his action through enjoyments and suffering respectively, till those effects are balanced. At that time, again a human birth materializes, and the balance of good and bad effects is carried over in the shape of different elements of the individual's temperament. Explaining this, the Lord says.
So I think
the sentence here, right? That the value system underlying the actions and the actions themselves mold the temperament of the performer of actions, who then becomes liable to a succession of future lives which conform to that temperament. So the lives that we create for ourselves, the destiny with which we are born, the VVGPs that come to us are those that are specific to the temperament that we have and the life lessons we need to learn to transform that temperament and be able to become gunatit. हमारा specific जो temperament है, हमें क्या करना है? Ultimately, we have to become gunatit from every aspect of our lives, right? From everywhere, we move from tamas to rajas to sattva and then leave sattva also. Depending on our specific composition in various aspects of our lives, specific life, very, very personalized, जैसे कहते हैं ना, it's a personalized, hyper-personalized work that Bhagwan Ji does for us. That this is the path you specifically need to walk, and only you need to walk this path. Your spouse has a different composition. He has a different life path to walk on. So he will face different VVGPs in his life. Right? And that hyper-personalized path will lead you to the ultimate welfare of your life. But our own temperament creates our life, creates our destiny. So we choose our destiny through our temperament, which is crafted on what basis? It is crafted on the basis of the actions we do and the attitude with which we do it. So every action we take today, the actions that we take today and the bhav, the purpose with which we take our actions determines how our habits change or stay the same. And these habits are nothing but our temperament. Habits are temperament. Habits are our attitude. Habits are what we are born with. जो कहते हैं ना, स्वभाव. That स्वभाव is nothing but habits that have become over a period of time. They've gone into our subconscious. So they have been formed because of our own actions. And so we have the power, the choice, the volition to also change them through our own actions by utilizing that choice, moment by moment by moment. Kshanek, kshanek, kshanek. Every moment we have the choice to make. In this moment, what is my choice? Is my choice Bhagwanji or is my choice the world? Is my choice Maya? Is my choice Bhagwanji? Every second we are making that choice. And with that choice, we are creating the future outcomes, the future lives. Our future, our temperament, our entire sattva, the whole guna ka jo hamara balance hai, we are changing that every single second.
Okay. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham
Brahmana Kshatriya Visham
Shudrana cha Parantapa
Shudranam cha Parantapa
Karmani Pravibhaktani
Karmani Pravibhaktani
Swabhav Prabhave Gunehi
Swabhava Prabhavai Gunehi. O Parantapa, the different qualities reflecting the different temperaments give rise to the functional divisions of divines. Brahmanas, the warrior, Kshatriyas, the producers and distributors, Vaishyas, and the workers, Shudras. The functional division of human beings. Living through the animal forms, the individualized self exhausts the effect of bad actions, and through godly forms, the effect of good actions is exhausted. When the two effects are balanced, one is born as a human being with a temperament with a mixture of sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic traits, and which remains to be worked out. These mixtures give rise to the following functional divisions.
Just 1 second. So this first sentence here, right? Living through the animal forms, the individualized self exhausts the effects of bad actions. So this is the bad prarabdha that you've accumulated, because of which you've come into animal form. And through godly forms, the effect of good actions is exhausted. This is exactly what Vijay asked, right? And Tuvina explained, I thought, very well, which is a sun god doesn't have a choice about not showing up. Sun god has to do its dharma. It has to exhaust its the pleasures of having that power, right? And it is only in the human form that we have that choice and volition. And that's what the second part of the paragraph highlights. Yeah.
Brahmanas are divines. A preponderance of sattvic traits, evincing the natural flair of service through scriptural studies, worship, prayers, and yogic practices. Kshatriyas are warriors, predominantly sattvic, but with a fair quantum of rajasic and a low portion of tamasic traits, which give a natural inclination for physical prowess to protect the society from intruders and evildoers. Vaishyas are producers and distributors, predominantly rajasic, with a balanced quantum of sattvic and tamasic traits, which give a natural liking for mobilization, production, and distribution of economic resources. Shudras are the workers, predominantly tamasic, with a balanced quantum of sattvic and rajasic qualities, which give a natural liking for manual work. In this shloka, the Lord has elaborated what he had said in shloka 13 of chapter 4 about the functional divisions. While he has spoken of the functioning based on the temperamental qualities with which a human being is born, he has nowhere related them to family traits. The fundamental basis of all these functional divisions is service to society. The society is like a beautiful garland in which varnas or functional divisions are like flowers of different colors and fragrances born of the string of service.
So we are talking about 4 varnas, and in general, in today's environment, in today's society, And for the longest time, this has just become, we've lost the meaning of it. And it has just become a gross classification, which
Of
is
people.
yeah. So it's like you are a Brahmin or you are a Kshatriya. It is based on the family that you are born in, and it is based on your what do you call it? The last name, right? Gupta. So you are a Marwadi, you are a Vaishya, right? So the what Bhagwanji is reminding us here, and he had brought it up in chapter 4 as well, कि ये जो वर्ण हैं, they've got nothing to do with family, and they've got everything to do with two things. One is the temperament of the person, okay? The temperament of the person and the value they create in the society. So, and it is important to marry the two. So first thing is that we have to determine what is the composition of the temperament of the person. Once you understand what is the temperament of the person, then you find what is the right vocation for this person. Okay, there are certain vocations that lend themselves very easily to the temperament of that person. When a person follows his own temperament in the vocation that he does, one is that he is very happy because it comes naturally to him. He finds it easy to do so. Okay, life, when you lead it properly, it's supposed to be very sahaj. It is supposed to be easy. It is supposed to be happy. It is supposed to be a good journey when we follow it as per the scriptures. Because when we follow our life as per scriptures, then every action is crafted in such a manner that it yields you the best results. It yields you happiness, the small happiness along the way while you go up to the top. Okay. So if we choose our vocation as per our abilities, as per our temperament, we will find that it comes easily to us. Internally, we are happy and we are not struggling. And we also create the maximum value क्योंकि हम सहजता से वो काम करते हैं, खुशी काम करते हैं. So we don't get exhausted doing it. As much as the person next to me will get exhausted if he's trying to do something. If he's trying to be me and I'm trying to be him, we will exhaust ourselves very, very quickly. 4 hours of work and I'm done. But if I'm doing something that comes sahaj to me, I can do it 10 hours a day and I'll be happy. I'll enjoy it. So I'll create a lot of value for the society. Okay. And in this process, all of this will be done in such a manner that if I follow all the scriptures as per my temperament and I do things properly and I live my life properly, I will reach moksha. So the second thing he's saying is that there is no such thing as this is better than the other. It is what it is. अच्छा बुरा ऊपर नीचे ये सारे moral constructs human beings ने बनाए हैं, अपनी language में बनाए हैं. भगवान जी ने नहीं बनाए. भगवान जी does not create judgments. He does not create any moral judgments. He just says these are the rules. You do this will happen. You do that will happen. Choose your path. He does not say it is right or wrong. Right and wrong is not Bhagwanji's language.
Or better and worse. He doesn't even say that. He's saying all four.
It just is. Everything just is. So similarly, all the 4 varnas here are important for a functioning of the society. Okay, so that is at the level of society. You need people who are workers in the society. You need people who will run the economy. You need people who will protect the society against the evils, who will go and do the things that are required outside of their own sphere of influence. And then you need the Brahmins who will guide the society to do the right thing. When somebody who you will go and ask, a worker will go and ask, okay, I'm stuck here. What is the right thing for me to do? The Brahmin will guide him. This is the right thing for you to do. Right? So you need all varnas in the society. That's at the society level. Okay. Now, as with everything else in this, as outside as is inside. Okay. Whatever is at the macro level also is at the micro level. So bring it back to your own life, connecting it to your me story. You will have aspects of your life where you will be a Shudra, you will be a Vaishya, you will be a Brahman, and you will be a Kshatriya. Okay. So, and in a body, when you think about it as a body, The Brahmin is the head, which is the thinker. Okay. The hands are the Kshatriya. Okay. Your entire middle body here is your Vaishya, who distributes, does the stuff, right? So your belly will digest the food, and then your heart is going to pump the blood to the rest of the economy, right? So they are the distributors, the ingestion, the production, and the distribution. So your middle body is your Vaishya, and then your legs, which carry the weight of your entire body, and that is what really carries the body everywhere, is the Shudras. You cannot live one without the other. You cannot have, I don't want legs, right? I don't want legs. Legs are bad.
I only want a head.
Okay,
I'm
I
not-
only want a head. All Brahman, I only want a head. Can you live like a head without your hands or your body? You can't, right? So all aspects are important in the body for its smooth functioning, right? And all of them need to be taken care of in a manner appropriate to it. The way you will take care of your eyes will be different from the way you take care of your hands, will be different from the way you take care of your feet. But all need to be taken care of appropriately. किसी को भी चोट लगेगी, आप उसको ठीक करेंगे in a manner appropriate to it. And you will give the work appropriate to it. You will not ask your legs to start seeing for you. You will not expect the eyes to lift weight. Right? So, हर चीज की एक इम्पोर्टेंस है और उसका एक स्पेसिफिक नीश रिक्वायरमेंट है in the society. When that thing does the work that is expected of it, the entire society, your entire body functions well. Okay? That is one thing. Second, in our own lives, we have to do the activity ourselves. We are performing the job of a Brahmin when we are attending a satsang, when we are reading scriptures, when we are learning something. We are being Brahmins. When you are doing puja, when you are thinking what is the right thing to do, when you are doing satsang, when you are doing manan, right? When you are thinking about, okay, this is the right thing to do, that's the Brahmin inside of you. When you are doing your daily activities, right? You're doing you're running your business, you're doing your job, you're going out there, you're shopping. All of that is what you being a Vaishya. When you are doing work for others and you're being selfless, you are affecting others, you are impacting others, you are being a Kshatriya. When you're taking care of others, you're being a Kshatriya. And when you're doing the manual labor work in your home, you're giving shower to your child, you're doing cleaning of the house, you're cleaning yourself up, you're taking a shower, you're eating your food, these are all Shudra activities. You're doing the worker's job. Right? So on a daily basis, we are being Shudras, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, and Brahmins for our own lives. So these are functional aspects. They are dynamic and they are functional. They are related to activity being done. Is nothing right, wrong, good or bad about it. So a person who is your helper in your house, who is working in your house, okay, from a broader perspective, and a CEO of an organization, and a president of a country, and a scholar in a PhD in a college, all of them, despite their very varied circumstances of life and very different resources being available to them, very different temperaments that they may have, they all have exactly equal opportunity to achieve moksha through exactly the life circumstances that they have been given and the resources they have been given. Which means कि हमें आज बैठ के ये नहीं सोचना, oh my God, there are 500 different scriptures out there, I have to read all of them. Otherwise, I will not be able to achieve moksha. ऐसा कुछ नहीं. जो आपकी लाइफ में अपॉर्चुनिटीज अवेलेबल हो रही हैं, रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल हो रहे हैं, आप उनको अच्छे से यूटिलाइज करें to do your duty in the very VVGPs that are being available to you. We don't have to go outside. We don't have to go too far to find charity in our lives. हमें चैरिटी करनी है, आज हम 4 घंटे बैठ के चैरिटीज ढूंढेंगे. चैरिटी begins at home. ठीक है? Your life will present opportunities to you. People in your life, your VVGPs, the circumstances in your life will create all situations that you need to improve yourself, to cleanse your antakaran, and to get to that state where you can become gunati. First, improving upon all the tamas, changing it to rajas. Rajas goes to sattva, and eventually we leave sattva also and we become gunatit through our very special hyper-personalized program that is life. So you don't have to go too far. You don't have to go and sit in an ashram to achieve moksha. You will achieve moksha in the very circumstances you find yourselves in today, if we utilize it correctly.
Perfect. Should we
Yes, of
do
course.
takeaways?
No, it's 40. 20 more minutes.
We do one more. Smita, would you like to read with us?
Yeah, sure. Now the Lord describes the characteristics of each functional division. A study of these characteristics would enable a person to determine the functions for which there is a natural flair. First, the natural characteristics of Brahman or divine are narrated by the Lord.
It's not Brahman, it's Brahman.
Brahman.
Okay. Brahman, Brahma, and Brahm are three different aspects, right? Brahma is that Gunatit Brahma that we talk of. Brahma is the creative energy of Brahma, right? And Brahman is this functional aspect, which is represented by certain characteristics. So we had read on a very high level, Brahman in the last one, they said, Brahman is somebody who has preponderance of sattvic traits. Okay. Kshatriya is predominantly sattvic with a little bit of rajasic traits. Okay. So because Brahman has preponderance, a maximum amount of sattvic, it does not have dynamism, it does not have rajas, he does not have any tamas, right? So he is closest to divine, right? He is able to translate what Bhagwanji wants to say in the cleanest manner possible. So that is why when you want guidance, you will go to a Brahman for his guidance. Because when you go to his guide, when you ask him for help, because of the purity of that person, because of the purity of Brahman, he is able to connect to Bhagwanji. So you are essentially convinced that Bhagwanji is directly talking to you through that Brahman. Right? Then comes the Kshatriya. Kshatriya has also preponderance of sattvic traits, but he also has a lot of rajas. Okay? Sattva is still in the driver's seat, but with a healthy amount of dynamism, which allows him to go out and do activities for the society, take care of society, take care of the people around him, protect people, make sure the dharma is being followed in the society. These are the jobs of a Kshatriya. Okay? And they will have very small amount of tamasic traits. So typically, the right type of Kshatriya are a Kshatriya will go out and lay his life for others, right? Because he doesn't think of himself. He's not selfish. Very selfless person with a lot of dynamism. So he will go out there and he will take whatever effort is required for the sake of betterment of the society. Vaishyas are the people who have a lot of rajas. There is a preponderance of rajas. If there is a preponderance of rajas, there is immediately main or tum. So there is a lot of selfish interests that drive what they do. They'll always ask, what is in it for me? That is a Vaishya, a trader. He will trade things for himself. He will move things around for his selfish interest. And in that process, because there is equal amount of sattva and tamas, he is not here to do harm to others. Right? He's not here to do harm to others. So he's, I am going to benefit, but I will benefit if you benefit as well in that process, right? So these people become the economy of the society. Then the Shudras or the workers, they are predominantly tamasic with equal amounts of sattva and rajas. There's preponderance of tamas. So these are the people who are being driven by what? They are being driven by likes and dislikes. A Vaishya with the preponderance of rajas are able to control their likes and dislikes. So this guy will say, I don't want to consume today. I will invest today for consumption tomorrow. Right? So he has ability to control his senses. But for what purpose? for his own selfish interest. What is in it for me? I will be able to have the discipline to go and exercise because I see that it will affect, I will look good. I will wear these good clothes. I will look very handsome. I will be very powerful. And when I'm powerful, I'm able to command better respect and I'm able to get something out of the society. Right? That's your Vaishya with a lot of rajas. A lot of tamas means likes and dislikes is what is going to determine what I want to do or not want to do. Right? So when there is likes and dislikes, people will make me do. They will make me run around based on my likes and dislikes. So other people will make me do work by showing me carrot and stick. And I will do that work based on my carrot and stick. If I need food, I will go out and work. If I don't need food, I will chill out. So this is the Shudra temperament. That's why they are workers. They need someone else to tell them what to do. They don't have the ability to have foresight to think things through. They will, so these people then form the backbone who don't think too much. Repetitive काम कर रहे हैं, करेंगे. Right? So, but किस तरह से करेंगे can determine that that Shudra person is also able to achieve moksha. So, kam nahi hai. It is just the type of guna that is there. Right? Now we will understand, okay, now we've understood Brahman, preponderance of sattva. We've understood this higher thing. In the next few shlokas, now we'll understand what are those characteristics or the traits that we will see in the people who exhibit Brahman or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra qualities. And think of them at a macro level, at what you do on a usual basis, how you see those people, you will be able to recognize them. But also in your own self, you will see them not only at a macro level, generally speaking, this is my predisposition, right? But despite you being, suppose I have a predisposition of a Vaishya. Despite that, I will find that there are certain situations, VVGPs or times of the day or whatever, right? I will find myself still acting as a Brahman in that situation or in that time of the day, and Kshatriya and Vaishya and Shudra. So there is this general preponderance, but there's also at a micro level, time at every moment, I can be slightly different. You get what I'm saying? So always look at everything at a macro level and at a micro level. And at a macro level is at the level of universe, down to earth, down to a single person, to society, country, person, family, and then within a person on a daily basis, at different times of the day, kshane kshane. The principles are the same. It's a holograph. Right?
Nash video take over.
Okay. So, okay, with that background, maybe we'll stop here and then we'll go to the specific traits,
Next
what
class.
those traits look like in the next class. So, we'll cover all of them.
So we can start with takeaways, whoever wants to go.
I can go first. For me, my takeaway was that the importance of choice, and I want to practice that by where I choose either worldly things or God. I want to always choose God, so I want to practice it this week.
I can go next. My takeaway, today I feel like maybe this class today was a little bit tough for me, and I was a little bit restless maybe. But I think my takeaway today was in the shloka where it shows that there's like indiscrimination of like how you were saying that whether it is a snake, it doesn't discriminate whether the person is good or not good, but if the action is done, I felt, I think maybe to understand it, maybe I'm not getting this correctly, is to move up from a level of tamasic or rajasic to each level up is to maybe, is it to be to discriminate or to not discriminate so that way it'd be easier for you to move up to the next level?
I think what I firstly fully appreciate that chapter 18 is heavy because it assumes a lot of context from the previous chapters, whether it's gunas or something else, right? So I appreciate your honesty there. With what I think Tuina was explaining was that an animal does not have a choice. They have to follow their innate nature.
Innate nature is what is called dharma or
Right.
duty.
So
Right?
they,
So like dharma, this is just to give you a little bit of a context here. Dharma is your innate nature. The dharma or the duty of fire is to give warmth and to burn.
light and
Right? It gives light, it gives warmth, and it can burn. That's the innate nature. It doesn't matter किसी ने आपने उसके अंदर क्या डाला है, it will do the same thing again and again in an indiscriminate fashion. You put your hand in, or he puts his hand in, or I put my hand in, we will all experience exactly the same thing. The warmth, we'll all see the same light, we'll all feel our hand burn if we put our hand in there, right? So fire is not going to part itself that, oh, the sage has put his hand in, I will part, I will not burn the hand. It doesn't do that. So
Right.
they all follow their nature. They have no choice. The only people who have the choice is human beings. We have the choice to say whether I want to do this or not do this, because we are the only species which is a copy of Bhagwanji. We are his replica. So we are the only ones who have the choice. That was what was being brought out. No other form, movable, immovable, conscious, unconscious, all of them are first of all under the three gunas, under the influence of the three gunas, and none other than the human form has a choice. They will follow their dharma, whatever dharma has been given to them. They don't have a choice. We have a choice, and our job is that second by second we choose dharma. And what is the dharma of human beings? Only one: to follow the path of our highest welfare, ultimate welfare. The dharma of human life is to realize our true innate nature. And our true innate nature is Bhagwanji. So to realize the Bhagwanji inside of us is the only dharma that we have to follow.
So to make it more digestible for you, the human beings are the only one that have a choice to become better versions of themselves. Everybody else has to follow exactly what they've been given as their innate nature.
So we actually have the choice of whether we want to do our duty or not. किसी और के पास ये choice ही नहीं है. Everybody has to do their duty. Whatever is their innate nature, they will do. We have the choice of saying, okay, do I want to do my dharma or I don't want to do my dharma? Do I want to go with my likes and dislikes? There is no like or dislike for anyone else because there is no dharma. That concept
And
of
if you
likes and
don't-
dislikes and dharma is only for us. We can choose.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
I just finished.
Yeah.
I can go next. What Tuhina said about our VVGP being hyper-personalized for our journey, that is what stuck with me because, like you said, everybody's journey is different and for everyone, the path is different. So, and understanding that and maybe understanding the scope of gunas in every decision we make and every moment of our life, it's tough and it is uh, for me personally it would be to reduce overthinking with every step every day. I feel for me, yeah, putting everything in context and making decisions, like every little decision, I think there's a lot of overthinking involved. So I would like to cut down on the overthinking and just try and, I have to work on that. That would be my takeaway for today. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful.
I think I can go next. So exactly my understanding that, yeah, it is a hyper-personalized program, and I think every BBGP comes to us for our, we can take it as a blessing or a curse. How do you want to take it? So interestingly, this morning, right, I was feeling a little low because it is Mother's Day, and my daughter came out and she did not wish me. And I was thinking that, She's aware, not aware. She did not wish me. I was feeling bad, low. I was thinking about the Gita principle that I am doing duty as my mother. Why am I expecting that you should wish me at this moment? And I went through my own feelings at that point in time. I as Kavita said, I took a pause, but the personality that I am, either I'm very dynamic, I'm always talking, chirping everywhere, or and when such situation happens, I'm quiet. So immediately my husband observed something is wrong, my daughter observed something is wrong. So even though I wanted to take that feelings and accept it and kind of processes myself, I couldn't. Everybody got to know, oh, there's something wrong, something which is amiss, and she is feeling bad about it. So then after that, when this Gita lesson happened, I think it was very interesting that these are all happening for our own, how to process it. That is also subtly process it is also very important. That okay, this was a BV, it was not even a BVGP, it was just something that happened. And you could have taken it in a very, like with all the learnings that we've had, in a very you know positive spin to it, but I couldn't. I took a moment to kind of go through that process. So again, it's a good reminder and a good class today to kind of remind that how this could have been spun in a different way, probably in a better way.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. It was beautiful.
See, and the same stimulus, depending on our own antakaran, lands differently for different people. People will, like, it attaches to people in different ways. See, like in our case, also, nobody wished me in the morning. I didn't wish my own mom. Okay. It's not important, right? My BBGP, like the same thing happened, but like it affected me very differently, right? My kid is going out to do something else on his own. I didn't even like think twice. I haven't wished my own mom, and his mom is here. उनको सुबह उठ के मेरे को याद है, हाँ आज उनको विश करना चाहिए. 2 घंटे के बाद विश किया. Oh mummy, happy Mother's Day.
And she's on her phone. She's like, हाँ ठीक है.
हाँ ठीक है, thank you. So
Yeah.
it is like the same. Same stimulus will affect differently for all of us based on our own antakaran. And so what it does to our antakaran tells us something about our own antakaran कि इस situation में मेरे को ऐसा क्यों affect किया. है ना, सेम सिचुएशन मेरे और साथ होगी, मुझे किसी चीज का बहुत बुरा लग जाएगा, नहीं भी like,
So just to highlight, just to add, right, what Tuina mentioned, personalized VVGP. The reason why the VVGP is personalized is because of your perception of the VVGP.
Exactly.
What is happening with India, Pakistan, and how all of us are perceiving it, and what our behavior is, and what our conversation is what is making it personalized. And that's what you just shared as well.
Yeah. And I think that also kind of comes to the same thing which you said, as is inside, so is outside. So I think when you are feeling something is what you are also kind of attracting around, right? So, okay.
100%.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can go next. By the way, happy Mother's Day to everyone.
I know. And wish you all the
So the one thing that which got me today is that what we the choices we make defines who we are. That's like the temperament of the person, how we perceive things, and also the value that we brings to the society. That was like very profound. So that's one of them. And also that when we discussed about in every day, every moment of the life, we would have different phases. During the day itself, we'll have like a tamasic gratification. Sometimes we'll have rajasic, sometimes we will have sattvic. So we'll have to consciously make ourselves, when we are in the tamas mode. There are some times that like before going to sleep, that is the tamasic moment. So some of the times it is okay, some of the times I think we'll have to take it upon us to go above that tamasic into the rajas, and then go to the sattvic. So that's my takeaway.
Thank you.
I can go next. For me, my main takeaway, there are a lot of takeaways in this class, but my main takeaway is how
even the God in the heavens also, they also don't, they also be bounded by their own dharma, but only we have the choice, humans have the choice to grow the consciousness. So and it is like, it just it feels how important is the life, and how important to make the choice with awareness in each and every given moment. And also the BBGP is always up and down, like, sometimes we can it's all according to our perception, and also it is our opportunity to change our temperament, whatever the temperament, like, if we the BBGP, we feel they are hurting us, there is a space for the growth in that by changing our perception. So we have to kind of, like, see it in that way and make the choice every moment. So that is my takeaway. Thank you so much. A lot of takeaways today.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, I'll go next. So one funny thing that I could remember is there is a common saying out here. If you like your mother-in-law so much, you will be blessed with the daughter exactly the same way. So that's one of the common kind of poking type saying that goes around here. So people are talking about the Mother's Day and stuff like so. And that's the only way shortcut is to accept them as it is. So that's what is going to get us out of the part. So that's my um, kind of personal experience also. Unless it is like taught in various format or something like that, it will come the char hands of God, right? Like first as like in the written way, or if it is not, then he is going to come back with a gada, the stick, or finally it will be the chakra. So he will make us understand for sure. So we better accept as sooner the possible. It is better. And main thing is like with work with ACE means like what we have been given. If we understand the purpose of it, we will be able to do it with ACE and with the inner peace. So that is what is going to make the journey better for us on a daily basis. So it's largely towards how we are using our free will to make our journey more with serenity and peace. So that's the key takeaway for. Thank you.
Thank you. So Vijay, would you like to do the closing shlokas while you're the last person? Submit them.
Okay, sure. Om Sarvesham Swastirбhavatu Sarvesham Shantirbhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Shantu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pakshantu Ma Kaschid Dukh Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amardam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Avishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Om. Om.
Narayan, Narayan, everyone. Have a wonderful week ahead.